Every marriage is like a book. Some chapters are beautiful, some are painful, but the most dangerous chapter, the one your husband never wants you to read aloud. My name is Elena, and I'm about to read mine to 300 people, including his mistress. They say behind every great man is a great woman, but nobody tells you what happens when that man decides he doesn't need you anymore. 10 years ago, I married a man named Marcus. He wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, he was just ambitious, hungry. The kind of man who worked double shifts and still came home with a notebook full of business ideas. I loved that about him. I loved his fire. But what I didn't know was that fire would one day burn me alive. Let me take you back to the beginning. When I met Marcus, I was 23. I had just inherited a small amount of money from my grandmother, not a fortune, but enough to buy a little peace of mind. About $70,000. I was planning to use it for a down payment on a small apartment. Nothing fancy, just safety. Then Marcus walked into my life. He was handsome in a rough, unstoppable way. He worked construction during the day and took online business classes at night. He talked about building an empire. He talked about retiring his mother. He talked about us traveling the world. And I believed him. Because when he looked at me, I felt like I was the only person who saw his potential. 6 months into our relationship, he came to me with an idea, a logistics company. He had the plan, the contacts, the drive, but he didn't have the capital. He needed $70,000 to get the trucks, the licenses, the first warehouse lease. Elena, he said, holding my hands, this is our future. If you invest in me, I will make you a queen. I promise. I remember hesitating. $70,000 was everything I had, but I loved him, and I believed in him more than I believed in myself. So I wrote the check. We got married 3 months later. Small courthouse wedding. I didn't want a big dress or a party. I wanted to build something together. And for the first 5 years, it was beautiful. Hard, but beautiful. I worked alongside him. I handled the books. I answered calls at midnight. I drove to the warehouse when a delivery went wrong. I believed in us. And slowly, Marcus's company grew. 1 truck became 5, 5 became 20. We moved from a small apartment to a nice house, then to a bigger house, then to the kind of neighborhood where people have gardeners and private schools. I thought we had made it. I thought our struggle was over. But here's what I didn't understand. Success doesn't change who you are. It just reveals who you've always been. The first sign came on our 7th anniversary. Marcus was supposed to come home early. He didn't. He sent a text, working late. Love you. That was fine. He worked late often. But then his phone went straight to voicemail. I called 3 times, nothing. At 1 a.m., he walked through the door. He smelled like alcohol and something else. Perfume, not mine. When I asked, he laughed it off. Client dinner, lots of people. You know how it is. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But something cold settled in my chest. Over the next year, the signs multiplied. He started taking business trips every other week. His phone, which used to be open on the counter, now lived in his pocket. He changed his passwords. He became distant. He stopped touching me. When I tried to talk, he said I was being paranoid. You don't trust me, he'd say, with that hurt look. After everything I've built for us, notice he said I've built, not we, but I swallowed my doubts. I told myself I was insecure. I told myself that this was just the stress of success. I went to therapy. I read books about being a supportive wife. I tried harder. Until one night, I found the credit card statement, and everything shattered. It was a Tuesday. Nothing special. I was going through the mail, paying bills like I had done for a decade. Marcus's company was now worth millions. We had separate accounts for the business, but our personal credit card was still joint. I never looked at it closely. I trusted him. That Tuesday, I did. There was a charge for a hotel downtown. Not unusual. Marcus sometimes booked rooms for out-of-town clients, but next to it, a charge for a jewelry store. A very expensive one. $15,000. 2 days later, another charge. This time at a restaurant I'd never heard of. Then, flowers. Then, more jewelry. I sat at the kitchen table holding the statement and my hands started shaking. I didn't confront him immediately. I wanted proof. Real proof. So I did something I'm not proud of. I checked his laptop. He had left it open on the desk. His email was still logged in. I found messages, hundreds of them, between Marcus and a woman named Sabrina. The first ones were innocent. Great meeting you. Let's do lunch. Then they became warmer. You looked beautiful tonight. I can't stop thinking about you. Then explicit. The kind of words you don't write to anyone unless you're already sleeping together. I read until I couldn't see through my tears. And then I saw the dates. Some of these messages were sent on nights Marcus told me he was working late. Some were sent from hotel rooms he said were for clients. One was sent while I was in the hospital with a kidney infection. He had visited me for 20 minutes, kissed my forehead, said he had to go. Then he went to her. I closed the laptop, walked to the bathroom, locked the door. And for the first time in 10 years, I screamed into a towel so nobody could hear. I stayed in that bathroom for 2 hours. When I came out, Marcus was home. He was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone, eating takeout. He looked up. "You okay? You look tired." I said, "Just a headache." He nodded and went back to his phone. That night, I lay next to him in bed, listening to him breathe, and I made a decision. I was not going to confront him yet. I was not going to cry and beg. I was not going to let him gaslight me into thinking I was crazy. I was going to build a case. And then I was going to burn his world down. Over the next 3 months, I became a spy in my own marriage. I copied every email. I screenshotted every text. I tracked his location using the family account he forgot I had access to. I watched him drive to her apartment twice a week. I watched him buy her gifts with our money. My money. The money I had helped earn. I also hired a private investigator. His name was Frank. Older man, quiet, professional. I paid him in cash from a separate account I opened without Marcus's knowledge. Frank followed Marcus for 6 weeks. He took photos, he recorded video, he found out that Sabrina was a real estate agent Marcus had met at a business conference. She was 28, beautiful, and she had no idea Marcus was married. Or maybe she did. Frank found an email where she asked, "Does your wife know?" And Marcus replied, "She doesn't ask questions." That line broke something in me. Not because I was surprised, but because I realized I had become invisible. I had given him everything. My youth, my inheritance, my labor, my love, and in return, he had erased me. But I wasn't erased. I was just waiting. The turning point came on a Friday. Marcus told me he had to go to a client dinner in another city. He would be gone the whole weekend. I knew exactly where he was going. Sabrina's apartment was only 20 minutes away. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I said, "Have a nice trip." He kissed my forehead, packed his bag, and left. That weekend, I contacted a divorce attorney, a shark named Mrs. Diana Reeves. She specialized in high net worth divorces with infidelity clauses. I showed her everything: the emails, the texts, the credit card statements, the investigator's photos. She looked at me and said, "Honey, by the time I'm done, he won't remember his own name." I smiled. It was the first real smile in months. But I didn't just want a divorce. I wanted him to feel what I felt. I wanted him to lose something he couldn't replace. Not just money, not just the house. I wanted him to lose the story he told himself, that he was the hero and I was just the woman who helped him get there. So I planned a public ending. And on the night of his company's 10th anniversary gala, the party he had planned for months with all his investors, partners, and employees, I walked in wearing a red dress. Not to impress him, to remind him that I was still there. And I hadn't forgotten a single thing. The gala was held at a beautiful downtown hotel ballroom. Crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, live band. Everyone who mattered in Marcus's world was there. His biggest clients, his investors, his mother, even his childhood best friend. Marcus stood near the stage looking like the king of the world. He was wearing a custom suit. His arm was wrapped around Sabrina. Yes, he brought her in front of everyone. He had introduced her as his business consultant. I watched from the back of the room. Nobody recognized me at first. I had lost weight. I had cut my hair. I looked nothing like the tired, trusting wife who used to sit at home waiting for him. When the band took a break, Marcus stepped up to the microphone. He was going to give a speech. Thank his team, thank his investors, thank God for his success. He didn't mention me, not once. After his speech, I walked toward the stage. The crowd parted. Someone whispered, "Isn't that his wife?" Marcus saw me. His face went pale. Sabrina looked confused. I climbed the 3 steps to the stage, took the microphone from the stand, and turned to face 300 people. "Hello, everyone," I said. My voice was calm. "My name is Elena. I'm Marcus's wife, the one who gave him $70,000 to start this company, the one who worked beside him for 5 years without a salary, the one who raised our children. We don't have children because he said they would distract him. So I sacrificed that too." The room went silent. I'm also the woman he has been cheating on for the past 2 years, with the woman he introduced tonight as his business consultant. I pointed at Sabrina. She turned red. Marcus tried to grab the microphone. "Elena, stop." I stepped back. I have bank statements, hotel receipts, text messages, and a private investigator's video of you entering her apartment 47 times. I have everything. One of his investors stood up. "Is this true, Marcus?" Marcus didn't answer. He couldn't. I continued. "The divorce papers are already filed. The prenup he made me sign, it has an infidelity clause that gives me everything. The house, the cars, half the company, plus damages for fraud because he used marital assets to pay for his affair." Sabrina ran out of the ballroom crying. Marcus's mother stood up, looked at her son with disgust, and walked out without a word. I handed the microphone to the band leader. "Thank you for listening," I said. Then I walked off the stage, through the stunned crowd, and out into the cool night air. I didn't look back. The divorce was finalized 7 months later. I got the house, a significant portion of the company's value, and full custody of our 2 dogs. Marcus had to sell his shares to his partner to pay me. He is now a minority owner in the company he built. Sabrina left him when she realized he was broke. He tried to rebuild. But in our industry, everyone remembered the gala. Nobody wanted to work with a man who humiliated his wife in front of the world. As for me, I started a small consulting business. Nothing huge, just enough to live comfortably. I travel now, I have friends who actually care about me, and I have peace. Here's what I learned. When you help someone build an empire, make sure your name is on the bricks, not hidden in the foundation, not erased from the story. Betrayal doesn't have to destroy you. It can wake you up. And revenge doesn't have to be cruel. Sometimes it's just showing people who you really are and letting them see who they've become. Marcus thought I was invisible, but I was never invisible. I was just waiting for the right moment to step into the light. And when I did, the whole room was watching.